Okay, guys, welcome. How you doing? I love you guys. I love to see the energy in the house. So thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe because today we're going to learn how to build projects with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I'm going to come towards it in the most fun way I've ever found. So this web development is a stepping stone for you to be able to learn how to build projects and solve real life problems, because this channel is based on sharing you ideas that solve real life problems, not just coding or not just web development in a basic, but for you to know how to solve real life problems using code. So let's dive in. Okay, here in my dashboard, I have my VS Code already opened and I have my browser by my right. So now we're going to start from the basic. Now we have three main files. Normally, professionally, when learning JavaScript and or HTML or web development, we have what we call the HTML, we have what we call the CSS, we have what we call the JavaScript. The HTML is just like the structure of the website, just the structure. Why the CSS is like the styling, it gives you the beautifulness and the color of it. While the JavaScript is like the functionality, it makes it work. No matter how beautiful your website is, no matter how structured it is, if it's not functioning, if the buttons are not clicked, that cannot be clicked. Let's say you create a button and it's not clickable or it's not sending any email, all those stuff, mean that your website is not functioning. So we're going to learn all this in this tutorial, and this is going to be a series. So let's get in, let's start learning. And remember, the best way to learn programming is by building projects, and projects will boost your portfolio and make you stand out from the crowd. So let's get in and let's dive in. I'm going to do a simple introductory class. Yes, how to create your files and how to connect them. So now, first thing first, look at this place. Now you see these buttons here. So this one helps us create files. This one helps us create folder. This one, like, it refreshes every stuff, and this collapses the folder just in your Explorer. So but let's start from this. So we're going to start from creating a new file, which is index.html. index.html. So index.html is our foundation file, meaning that it will be where we pick out all our works, we structure the website, then we introduce our CSS, our JavaScript. Okay, so HTML for this point, I'm not going to make this video too long. I'll make it straight to the point. So HTML gives us the structure of our website. So now, first thing first, we're going to create a boilerplate. How you do that? If you're on Windows, shift number one, it will give you the exclamation mark, then you press your tab key. So it builds this out. So now once it brings this out, this, like a boilerplate, has already been designed for you to understand your left and right in programming in using HTML. You have to set up the head. This is the doc type. You are doing the HTML doc type. This is the head. Now this is the head, and this is the body. So I'm going to explain everything in detail. So the head, as you see now, it contains everything that makes your HTML file work. Yes, and it cannot be seen by the users. It just stuck there in the head. But see this body section is where we're going to put all our like everything that want the browser, everything that want the users to see will come into the body section. Just don't overstretch, just understand like that. The HTML is divided into the HTML to the home, then you have the body, and you have the head, then we have the body. So let's go over to the next step. So at this point now, we can type something and let's see how it preview in our browser. So first we're going to do, we have to introduce something very important. If we have our header, say H1, now you say home is calling here. Let's say just type something fun. Let's say hello world. Okay, so how do you preview that on our browser? First, we're going to track where the file is. I'm going to run it on our browser. For this moment, I'm not using live server. I'm going to be using direct refresh so that we'll see how it works from ground up. So I'll right click here and I'll say review in file explorer. So this is it. So what I'm going to do, I'll drag this file inside my browser here so it will preview. Okay, I'm going to minimize this. Okay, now at this point now, nothing is showing because you know why? I off my autosave. Yes, so that once I press Ctrl S here, then I refresh my browser. Do you see it now? it shows here. This helps us so that we don't run into bugs consistently. Now, yes, I told you something that I purposely make this what to be on my refresh so that I'll prevent the code from crashing. Because if you put your code, for instance, on like autosave, like you make it to be like autosave, it's good. But then when you're running your JavaScript function, when you write a code and it's not yet complete and then it's autosave, what happens? It can crash your browser. So I remove it from autosave so I can manually what save it and also can manually what refresh it. No worry, when I get my live server up, I will show you guys how to make use of live server for immediate preview on your what on your browser. Okay, now let's go to the chase. So now this is just a simple H1 telling us that this should be printed on our browser. Okay, so let's go over. Let's say we want to create a button. Now I just created a button. I can say what? Click me. Okay, so this button is click me. It's not showing here, but actually showing here. So it's not showing here, it's actually showing, it's not showing here on our browser yet, but it's showing what on our normal VS Code, just our VS Code. If I control S now, and I want to refresh the browser, you see this button here, click me, understand? So that is how you want start creating documents on your from your HTML down to your browser. So first thing first, I remove from autosave and I make sure I use my hand to refresh so that I'll avoid my code being crashed. Actually, I will save it when I know that I'm sure with what I'm doing. So for you to get value from this class, I'm going to do something that will make you much more interesting. Let's not just learn random stuff and go home not thinking that, oh, what do we learn today? Let's actually build something that is unique, that maybe even though we complete the first series of it, we can finish it up in our next series. So we're going to create a simple app, understand? We're going to start just by building it out and seeing how it looks like. We're going to go to the structure, then the styling, and the word function. Stay tuned. Okay, so now I'm going to clean up all this stuff. I'm going to start from the beginning. So now I'm going to press Ctrl S, refresh our browser. Nothing is on our browser again. Our browser is what? Clean. So we're going to start by building what? A fintech app. A fintech app just on our what? Simple HTML, CSS, and what? JavaScript. Actually, it may function, but we're going to learn a lot of things from it as we go on. Okay, so now let's go. Now at this point in time, we are going to what? Create our what? Our dashboard. We're going to align everything so it's properly what fitted in what you need. So div. Now, what's a div? A div is just like a container. It helps us group things together in case we don't want them to be clustered. Okay, so let's go on. So under the div, we're going to what have like three sections or so: the header, the body, and the footer. So that's going to achieve that. So our work can be easy. Okay, so on this div now, I'm going to name it then a class which is what container. Okay, after that I'm going to put three extra div under. Okay, three extra div under. Okay, three extra div under. Okay, so now this first one we're going to name it what a class which is known as header. Then I'm going to come here, I'm going to name this one class known as what body, or let me say content. It's actually a content too, but then let's just name it so that we can just be able to write neat code. Okay, then next one I'm going to name it footer or base, anything you want to name it. Just make sure that you name it properly so you can remember it properly. Okay, so let's go over, let's continue. So now at this point in time, I told you I'm not going to stretch this class for so long, so I'm already timing myself already. So we're going to make sure that you guys get value from it as soon as what possible. Now the header. Now let me talk about the header. Now the header now, I'm going to from this container, I'm going to share it so that we can be able to have something shown on our screen. Now at this point, I'm going to introduce our CSS. Okay, CSS, I'm going to use our CSS to be able to share everything up and see how we want to move over from here. Okay, so I'm going to come over to this point now. I'm going to create on that file, I say what style style.css. I'll press enter. Okay, so now the HTML part now how we are going to link our CSS with our HTML, because if you don't link it, it's not going to work. It's not going to work at all. So at this point, I'll come and change this document towards Fintech App. Okay. If once I refresh, I save and I refresh here. Now look up here, this place now, that changed was Fintech App was actually document before. Okay, so now let's come over to our header. So now let's link our CSS and our Java and our HTML together. So at this point, I'm going to put what's called link okay, let me do it link. Good. So now what does this link does? This link help us to connect our CSS to our HTML. So I'll put dot slash style. Okay, so now we have actually connected our CSS to our HTML. I can do that again for you to see. Okay, just type link and press your tab. It's going to bring out the boiler code. Then that put dot slash styles the CSS. Okay, so now let's go over and see as our work has been. Okay, now going back to style of CSS, what I'll do is I'll copy this container value here. I'm going to copy it, going to CSS. Now we're going to do some few things first before we start pasting our code. Now I'll make sure that under I'll put dot I'll put our body I'll put what margin to be what 0, padding to be what 0. Okay, this is why I did that is that I want our project to take the full width and all the spaces in our browser, so that we can be able to have a seamless and easy styling when going through our code. Okay, so sorry for that. So now going past this, let's go back to the next step. Now what is the next step? Now don't forget this, when coding in HTML and you are making use of class, when the moment you are going to your styling, it must go with a dot. Okay, but if you are making use of ID, it must go with a hash. I'm going to explain more of that in our continuous class. So at dot, I'll paste the container, I'll paste the name of the attribute value there. Then now I will continue. So the container has this now. Now I want to give the container what a height. You understand? I want to give it a height of what 100 VH. Height of 100 VH. Now you may ask, what is VH? VH is known as what? View height. That means the total height of our screen, our browser screen. They call it what? VH. So I'm going to give it a color, background, color, let me say red. Actually, we're going to use random text. Later on, we'll modify it to what we like. Okay, then I press Ctrl S. Now, nothing happened, right? Now, let's just refresh our browser. You see that, guys? There's red. You know why? Because we said let the container span 100 V height of the what of the screen. Then let the background color be what? Red. You can even go back and make it any other color I like, but then we're just still building out something, but we'll still get to how to modify it more better. So now under that, let's go to our HTML. Now back on our HTML, let's start giving what we call portions. Just like when we buy a land, we start portioning it. Let us start portioning this container into different sections and start getting our object right in there. So for the header, I will highlight this header now. I will Control C, then I will go to my style. Under here, I'll put dot. Okay, okay. So now the header is here. So I'll target the header. I'm going to give the header what a height of what. Now I'm going to share it 10 10 80 10 or 10 70 20, depending on how you want it. So I'm going to give this one 10 VH. Okay, and I'm going to give it a background color of what? Gray. Yes. So if I control S and I refresh here, you see this gray portion is the what header. I select for the header. Then I go over to the what content. So the content, or let me say the body, anyone you call it. So I'll just come down here. I'll put dot, paste it. Okay, now I'm going to give this one a height. A height of what? Now let's give it let's say 70. 70. So this is 10, 70. Okay, the remaining 20. Let's give 75. 75 VH. 75 VH. So I'm going to put it a background color. Background color will be, let's just any color of your choice. Let me say um blue. Blue. Okay. Control S. Okay, we have saved that now. Now, if we go back to our what, refresh our browser, you see now, this is the head, this is the body, and this is what footer. What I will do that I'll make this one actually 80. Okay, I have my reasons why. Okay, let's make it 80. Then the footer, let's take it back to what now on the footer side. We'll go back to our footer, we'll copy it here, Control C. Then what, we'll come down here. Then we'll give it a what height too of what. Now let's give the remaining height, which is 10 VH. Okay, so 10 VH is what we're giving it. They have what background color. Background color, you can give it any color you like. You can give it pink. Pink, yeah. So then control S. Okay, once you save that now, just refresh here. So guys, we have successfully what divided every section. Now we have our header, we have our body, then we have our what our footer. But it does not end there. Now what I'll go back to this container. I will say I want to give it a width. I'll give it a full width. That means let the width span across the browser too. So I'm going to give it a full width 100 VW, which is your view width. Okay, so once I do that now, I refresh. Now everything is set. We are done. So all these other ones too are going to inherit this width from the parent div. Okay, so coming down here now, let's start putting what our tools, start making use of things on our what browser, start putting things where they're supposed to be. And when we are done, in our next class, I'll also show you how to make use of what icons to work with our what browser. I will tell you what I want to do to include icons in your what in your browser. Okay, so now let's go over. Now in this header, now we're going to have two things here. We're going to have the name of the bank, the name of the bank. We're going to have the name of the bank, and on that section where we'll have what maybe sign in or sign up or maybe log out. The user wants to log out from the mobile app, so we're going to have a section for that. Okay, so let's go here. Oh, here over now. What we're going to do here is that, and the header we're going to have two div again. One will be for the name, then another one will be for the what sign out. Okay, so here now, let's say the name of the bank, we are using a bank which maybe the name of the bank is Virtus. So we just put what H1, then put what Virtus as the name of the bank. Then coming down to this place, now we're going to put what our sign out under H1 again. Sign out or log out, anyone, log out. Logout. Okay, now if you see my code is not actually aligned, so there's what to call what, and you have to rearrange your code. You make it to more formatted, so you right click and you see format document. Okay, is now what formatted. So now these two I've typed out. If I control S and I come to this place now and I preview it, you will see now the two of them appear here. Now we are going to what work it out whereby they are not staying on top of themselves like this. You have to lace by the side and what space them effectively and functionally. So now looking at this space now, this header that is here now is the parent of these two extra div. Now don't forget, always try to apply comments in your work. So I'll just comment this and say logo div. Okay, then this one logout div. Okay, it's good to add comments in your work. So now once I'll copy this header like this now. Don't forget this header like this. Now when you copy it, you come over to this section. You see this header that is here now. Yes, we're going to make it what? Display, we're going to make it flex. Don't worry, I'll show you later how to use flex and grid columns and flex columns. But then for this class, to make it simple, we're going to make it over our flex. So flex now is what I'm going to use to what? Align this and make it what? More presentable. So we're going to click on this. Now we're going to, under flex, I press Ctrl S, I refresh. Now what flex does is that flex brings out the two div and put them on the same line. Okay, so after that we are going to make to what? Justify con ten t. Justify con ten t. Now I'm going to put it what? Space between. Now what this does is that it gives a space in between the two divs. It gives a space in between the what? Two divs. So if I refresh this now, you see now my logout went this way and this one went the other way. Okay, so now after that we are going to, on that same, we're going to what? Align items. We're going to align item center so that they'll all be at the same line. So I press Ctrl S here and refresh. Okay, then I'm going to do what we call padding. Okay, padding. Now padding comes in different form. If I put two value here, let's say I put 10 pixel and 5 pixel, Ctrl S. Now and I come here, refresh. It's going to actually create spaces up and down and left and right. This first value is for up and down. Then this other value is for what? Left and right. Let's see that. Let's increase, let's say 50%, 50 pixel, and I refresh this now. You see now up and down has increased, but then for main project not supposed to make your work so much like this. So I can, let me put this at 0 first. I press Ctrl S. Okay, and I refresh this now. You see it now, it has removed the spacing between the element borders and the content inside. I will explain it more. Margin and padding, they may be confusing, but if you understand it, you go a long way in programming. So now, what I'll do is that I'll have to increase my left and right part. Let me say 10, Ctrl S. So I was refresh this. Okay, see, it's good. Now I will go back to my HTML. Instead of making this H1, let me say I make this maybe H3. I Ctrl S, I refresh this. Okay, so you see logout is small there. Yep. So now let's go back to our CSS. Now under our CSS now, we have gotten the company logo up there and running. Okay, so now this is time for us to decide to what color are we going to use to modify our website to make sure that it looks presentable and welcoming. So then let's say we stick to the blue. Okay, what we definitely do is that I will go over and change these values. I'll make this one blue, I'll make this one white for our content. I'll keep this one maybe ash back to gray or something. So let's go over. Now come back to this gray now. I'll change this gray to what? Blue. Now in case you are using VS Code, you have the ability to what? Toggle over the property of the blue that you want. So I don't want it too bluish. Yes. I don't want it too bluish. Yes, but it is going to carry blue. Okay. So I like this value there. I press Ctrl S and I refresh. It gives me this blue. Then I go over to this content of blue. I remove it, or you can actually comment out a property if you don't want it. But no, I'm not commenting this out. I'll change it to what? White. Okay, I'll press Ctrl S, I'll refresh. You see now we have white here, or you can show what they call white smoke. White smoke, I press Ctrl S, I refresh it. Yes, it's actually white, but it's actually like a little bit dull white. Then for the base, for us to maintain the company color, so I'll just copy this like this, copy, and I will change this pink to that value that is there. I'll Ctrl S. Okay, I'll refresh this also. You see now we have the same color up and down, then in the middle we have none. Then for our text, we can also go to the header and say what? text text will be text color text color or you can just say color. So just to be on the safe side, color you can say what? White. Control S. Then you refresh. Okay, so you see that, guys? Okay, guys, so yeah, so we have made this vertex look like this now, but then looking at our font family, like the guy, this font family, it did somehow. So let's just try to just make the font family to make the fonts that we have here to be a little bit more welcoming. This is good, but let's make it a little bit welcoming. So we're going to put font family. Font family. I like Tahoma. I like Tahoma. There's a lot of font you can use out there. There's a lot of font you can use out there. But I think I like Tahoma. What I'll do, I'll just scrape out this first one. Let it start from Tahoma. Then I'll press Ctrl S. Then I'll refresh. You see now. So now our bank now have a more better outlook, yeah, than before. Okay. Okay. Now so now apart from that, let's scroll down again. Now at this point in time now, let's start working on the intricate parts of this website, which is what? Putting our balance, our toggle eye, all those stuff. I don't want to stretch this class for so long, but I want to learn one or two things as we what proceed. Don't forget to what? Share, like, and what? Comment. Anything you don't understand, I'm free in the inbox. Just inbox me in the comment section and I'll reply back to you. Okay, so now let's go over to the next important thing. Now let's start creating what? Our balance, the place that is more important, where we see our balance and also where we see our the name of our account and the balance that we have. We can also toggle off and on the eye of the switch, and then of the amount, make it asterisk or toggle it back to the real balance. Then you can also see if there's other buttons you can also place under. Actually, I don't want it to be a very long class, a very interesting and a loving one too. Okay, so now we'll go over to this place now. Now, in our content, we come to our content. We're going to create a unique div. I'll call that div what? Balance. So I make use of comments now. So I put a div. Now this div now, I'm going to name it balance. I'm going to call it class balance. Balance. So this balance now, I will copy it. Now I'll just put it like that. Then now I will go to my style. Let me save it here first. Okay. Then I'll go to my style.css. Now right under the content, yes, I will create that div. Now I'll create that class. I'll say class, I'll paste the balance there. Then now what am I going to do? I'm going to give this balance a particular width and a particular height. Okay, so stay tuned. We're going to understand this now. So now I'm going to put it, sorry, I'm going to put it height. I'm going to say the height now. I'm going to make the height, let's say just random numbers. Don't cram, just random numbers. And make sure, please don't cram code. Whatever you're doing in coding, don't ever cram, but try to understand, because that's where you bring your ingenuity into the work. Okay, so now height, I'm going to make height. Let's say I'm going to make height in the container. I'm going to make, let's say, 20 VH, 20 VH, 20 VH. Okay, then the width, I'm going to make the width, I'm going to make it a percentage now. I'm going to say, let's say I want 60% of the width. Okay, now because we are going with the branded color, so I'll copy this color. Then I'm going to put it background color. I'll paste this color here. Okay, so I'll cover it like this. Okay, when I press Ctrl S, nothing shows, right? But when I refresh here, we now have beautifully something that looks like what we are looking for down here. So what I'll do is that I would apply padding, I'll apply margin, and I'll apply padding to make sure that we get it properly styled in the center. Okay, so now in this point in view now, so I will come to this place. Okay, come down to this balance now. I will say okay, I will come to the content. Now in this content section, I'll make it display. I'll put it what? Flex. Okay. I want it to flex, not normal flex, but that's how we name it here. So I'll control S. Then I will also what? Justify content center. So now once I refresh this, you see everything that is contained inside the content is now what justified at what center. And I'll put what apart from that, I'm going to put now I'll put padding. Padding means space inside that div. So I'll put a padding. I'll put it the padding I'll put it is, let's say, 10 pixel all round. So if I press Ctrl S and I refresh this, you see that gap, that 10 pixel all round has popped out, right? Okay, but I need to give this content a width. So I'll put inherit, Ctrl S, I'll refresh. Okay, that's good. Then now this 10 pixel that is giving me, okay, you see it's like pushing the boundaries and making this thing come out this way. So for you to avoid this in your code, go up like this and say what? Overflow hidden. Overflow hidden. You can specify it overflow x. Overflow x. Overflow x hidden. Okay, so now our code no longer overflow on the x-axis, only on the y-axis, because we're going to scroll up and down. Okay, so apart from that again, let's go over to the next one. Okay, okay, so now instead of me to put this padding in this place, not in the header, instead of me to put this padding in this place, I will take this padding from here. I'll cut it out, I'll delete it out, then I'll go to under my balance, because I want my balance to be able to balance very well. So I will put it, let me put it margin 10 pixel. Okay, Ctrl X. So let me refresh this now. Okay, yes. So that is gone. So what I did was that I removed the padding from this content and I place a margin in the balance. Now what it does that this balance on its own now has all around it a margin of what? 10 pixel all around it. A margin of 10 all around it. So any other object that is close to it will definitely be expressing a gap of 10 pixels. So if I make this, let's say, 20 pixel now, and I refresh, see this guy, see that guys is increasing. Okay, now let's keep that by the side. Now let's go over. I don't like the size of this blue, so let me increase a little bit. I'll expand it a little bit, increase a little bit. So I'll make this around, let's say, 80%. The width should be 80%. Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. Then the height, I'll make the height, let's say, 25 vh. 25 vh. You see now, I like the way it spanned out. Now I want the edges of this balance what to be curved. I want the edge of the balance to be curved. So I'll come down here. I'll say what? Border radius. I'll say what? You can say any amount, but let's say 2 rem. Okay, let me say Ctrl S. I refresh. See, I think this is it's okay, but I think it's more than too much. Let's say 1.5 rem. REM is also a measurement kind. No worry, as time go on, we start learning how to use measurement and all this stuff to work with our projects. Okay, so no problem. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. You learn all this. Just give yourself the time, and you learn all this very very well. Okay, so I think we have some minutes to go. What I'll do is that I will what at this point in time I am going to what apply some things that maybe we will now continue on fully for my next class. I also show you how to what put in your what font awesome to make use of icons. I also introduce some other things I need to understand in programming. Just take your step by step and learn. We build this thing fully from here to functionality where you start was functioning properly and functioning well. Just make use of HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and as we go on you also learn more about it. So let's apply the amount first, then later on we will tell you how to later in our next class I'll tell you how to what maybe toggle the eye icon and also do other stuff with this your website that I'm trying to build. Okay, so let's go over to our HTML. Now in our balance now, we're going to do something very very important. Okay, so at this point in time now I have to create div that will hold our what amount. Now guys, I just did something now. If you pay attention, I just did something now very very interesting. Now looking at this place now, now div amount. Let me show you how I did it again so that you get what I did. I press div dot amount. So instead of me to like create it, like after creating div I apply the amount. No, I use my own hand to what input the class before I sent it by applying dot with the name of the class, and I sent it and it gives me something like this. So let's say for instance I had code it. I say 10,000 naira. You understand? Let's just say 10,000 naira. It's a very funny price though. Yes, but it's 10,000 naira that I just typed. Okay, so let's go. So now I control S, I refresh in our browser. See 10,000 naira. Is looking there. So now let's make this a bold. So we're going to put it, we're going to wrap it inside H1 because it's going to be like a header or something. Okay, so I refresh. It's going to be a little bit bold. Perfect. Now, by the time I'm going to, actually today I'm going to make use of words. Okay. In our next class, I'll now convert those words back to icons. So we'll see how we would make use of our icons to work in our code. Okay. Okay. So now that is that. Then inside this amount, I'll also put under what um hide, which is I see H4 or something. Hide, okay, small letter there. Hide and show. Hide and show. So now I will collect this amount that is there. I'll copy it, which is Control C. Then I'll don't forget to save. Okay. I'll go to my styling. Under my styling now, I'll go directly under the balance. I'll put dot amount. Then at this dot amount now, I want to know how wide this amount span. I want to know how wide this amount was span. So what I'll do is that I will put it background color, let's say gray. Okay, let me refresh it now. Okay, you see that the thing span from this angle to this angle. It span the whole width of this. So I'm going to under this amount, I'm going to apply what display flex, Ctrl S. Now I will refresh. You see that now. Now I'm going to apply what justify content space between. I want there to be space between the amount and that height. So I'll Control S, I'll refresh. You see that now. Then I'm going to come back to this place. I'm going to say, okay, I want align item center. So if you watch now, let me before I refresh the browser, you see I'll press Ctrl S here. Now you see now this height is not actually on the same symmetrical line with this 10,000. What I'll do is that I'll just was refresh it. You see that now they're like in the center, in the middle now. Okay, what I'm going to do now next is what I'm going to what say padding, because I want them to pad. I want them to padding. So let's say now I want them to pad left and right, not just up and down. Don't forget previously we use the formats like up and down is 0 px. They will also give our left and right on that. Let's say 10 px. I Control S. Once I refresh now, you see that now. Now because of that gray color that is there, I'm going to mute this one out. I'm going to comment it out. Now once you comment a particular line of code, that code will cease to exist. It will never be it will not be previewed by the what browser. So I press Ctrl S and refresh back. Okay, guys, you see that now. So I finally was succeeded in what putting an amount. Now let me say I give, so let's say 20, 20, 20, 20. Okay, that's better. Okay, so now once we done that now, we're going to intentionally what color the icons or color the text in this place to white. So amount, amount, you can also come down here to say, okay, color white. So press it. Okay, so see now we now have our colors. Anything that we put inside this amount box now will be white because we have said let the colors be what? White. So guys, I would love to have take this video more, but to avoid it being longer than it is, I would employ that you watch our next video that will explain more. We'll go in depth about this. We'll learn how to style. We'll learn how to do different styling, even gradients. We'll learn how to update this code to make it more functional and more informative. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I see you, your boy Goodness, give you updates on how to be a good programmer. Love you. Don't forget to share this with your friends, and do have a nice time. Bye bye.